G'day YouTube, how the heck are we doing? It is Foul Play here, back for the second match of this Pauper League. We lost the die roll versus Katsuyo, or Katsuyo, yeah, I think it's Katsuyo, something like that. It sounds very Japanese or whatever it is. Looks like we're versing a Gates deck. Green-white, okay, that's interesting. I think the 7 is a keep mostly because we have Utopia Sprawl, meaning that we're guaranteed turn 2 Sulhana Ledgewalker, which is nice. If we hit any land as well, we have a really aggressive clock with all these enchantments. Alright, so opponent plays Heaped Gate into Thrabian Inspector. We hit Abundant Growth. Man, our top decks aren't doing us favors on tempo. At least we've got gas though. So still, if we hit one more mana next turn, we can have an aggressive turn. Plus side of Sulhana Ledgewalker as well, as it's difficult to block if our opponent doesn't have creatures with flying. Okay, main deck smashed to dust. Can't help but feel like a little bit hard done by there, given the fact we bricked on mana twice, and that's the reason why we got blown out in that spot. Oh, hello, right on time. Alright, so at least we can get past any board sweep effects on our next creature should we draw one. Basilisk Gate. And opponent's loading up on Thrabian Inspector, smacking in for 5 damage, looking to reduce that clock. We are, of course, bricking here. I mean, currently, Cetizen training on our opponent's creature is not increasing the clock. If they hit more gates, it might. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Cetizen training has to enchant a creature you control, so that line's not going to work. Apologies, guys. I should really remember that one. Alright, so opponents skip straight to their attack step, actually, so they're no longer able to activate Basilisk Gate. So we get 1 extra turn for free here anyway. We'll see if they have any more gates post-combat or any other creatures. So another mana gate. And drawing a card with the clue token. Alright, so any creature, come on deck, man. Come on, man. That's not fair. Even like an Abundant Growth, which cantrips into another creature. I did not mean to click on Ethereal Armor there, my mouse spazzed out. I think we're like doomed anyway at this point. Alright, so opponent finds a second Basilisk Gate, activates for exactly 13, attacks in, and that's lethal. Obviously, that's a lot of bad luck on not hitting our second land and then getting blown out by main deck smashed to dust in what is primarily a green-white deck. So this could actually be a rendition of an Ephemerate deck potentially, because they run smash to dust. They run a lot of these gates as well, and this one doesn't have Thrabian Inspector in it, but other lists do, so it's going to be a pretty difficult matchup, actually, and it's a real shame that we didn't win game 1 there, because we were very close to winning it off of, or at least having an aggressive clock against our opponent before the sideboard hate properly comes in. Interaction of Dawnbringer Cleric. Obviously, they have the Sacred Cat, which has life gain, and they can make it bigger with their Basilisk Gate, and that can be an issue. Smash to dust, sweeping our board can be an issue, especially off the back of removing enchantments. They have Ephemerate to further remove enchantments, Omen of the Dead to return Dawnbringer Clerics from the graveyard back to the battlefield. So it's a lot of fun. Reminder, guys, if you do find this video entertaining or informative, please consider subscribing. So these are cards that we consider bringing in. Also, Crewfix's Insight. This is a fair chunk of cards. 9 cards is a lot to board in. I think there's an argument for like maybe 1 Relic too. I like Standard Bearer. Acolyte's okay. I think at this point, Sulhana Ledgewalker's getting efficiency swapped. Probably Standard Bearer is a little bit better than Acolyte. We possibly want to take out some of our slower auras as well. On Mask here, maybe on some First Strike. So let's bring in all that. We still need to cut one more card. Goodness, we're trimming further than I'd like to here. All right, hopefully that's good. Standard bearer can get swept pretty easy. We have two different things to do on turn 1. We have guaranteed Armadillo Cloak on turn 3. This is really bad into like an enchantment removal heavy hand. I think it's semi-reasonable into like the creature side. I think there's enough of an argument to keep. Just abundant growth for the cantrip. Arguably, it's a bit stronger after Cave of Temptation, but we can't sequence that properly with turn 2 Standard Bearer, turn 3 Armadillo Cloak, and we do have the mana for turn 3 Armadillo Cloak. So green-white there, opponent would have to have basic Mountain in hand for Standard Bearer to get swept. So we can cave into Standard Bearer and pass turn. All right, so we do see Basilisk Gate there. We see 2 mana. Our opponent also has Standard Bearer. I mean, this just looks like a genius card to board in at this point. Holy smokes, that was almost horrible for us. Imagine if this was Crimson Acolyte right now. So we want to go green-white, and then we can go for 1 here, and we can go Armadillo Cloak, attack. Gives us the most aggressive clock. It also leaves our best enchantment vulnerable to removal, but hey, we can't have it all. Opponent has some sort of interaction here. Oh, Wool of Roots, okay. So that could be Wool of Roots plus Deglamour instant speed. Looks like Dawnbringer Cleric sorcery speed. So I guess that's an argument to Sentinel's Eyes first over. Yeah, it's a bit frustrating. Utopia Sprawl is not what we want to see. Do this here. Yeah, no, this is like pretty bad spot at this point. I think we cycle Relic in our opponent's turn. Like end step, unless we're given a reason to activate it earlier. Look to card draw. Hopefully we hit an aura and can attack. Yeah, I played poorly into Dawnbringer Cleric. There was probably no reason to Armadillo Cloak because our play could have been Relic plus Sentinel's Eyes and we would have been 1 mana worse off, but we're mana heavy anyway, so I think I got greedy on the Armadillo Cloak there for the 1 extra point of damage. It's possible our opponent holds Dawnbringer Cleric, but we want to make them do that, right? So open the gate, search for a basic land card or gate. What the fuck is this? Armadillo Cloak? What? No way, man. That's absolutely insane. I've never seen this from a gate deck before. It could just be my naivety of the format coming into play. But yeah, this is absolutely wild. I think we just want to cycle this Relic of Progenitus, draw. I mean, it's like horrible to have our opponent run into like an Ephemerate or something, but we are far too far behind at this point. We need to get some stuff happening. We can start that off with Citizen Training. So Citizen Training has to target our creature, so it does get around Standard Bearer. We have a reasonable draw with Ethereal Armor here. So we can Ethereal there. Scout off to the side using the mana so we don't burn it. We can now attack for 9. So we've got a better clock than our opponent currently. Opponent 3 cards in hand can very easily interact with us. Also Basilisk Gate, buffing this guy, dealing more damage, gaining more life. Looks like opponent is willing to block with Dawnbringer Cleric. That can't be right. They must have Omen of the Dead. That's the only explanation, right? Bring it back from their graveyard, replay it. Grim Harvest. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Recover. When a creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay black and 2. Great. That's lovely, isn't it? Holy smokes, man. Do they have black mana here? They don't. Well, that's a sigh of relief, but Dawnbringer Cleric taking out presumably Ethereal Armor is going to be very annoying. Yep. You fucking kidding me, deck? Oh my god. Well, we do have Cave of Temptation, which we can actually filter to make a bigger creature. It's frustrating bricking on mana though, like bricking on an actual relevant spell though. Yes, for the love of God, yes. We also get buff from our opponent's enchantments on that one. So buff this guy, go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Might have done one too much mana there. Yeah, I did. That's okay though. At least we have a permanent buff on Standard Bearer. That's kind of nice. Our opponent can trade, but they'd lose their Standard Bearer and their Armadillo Cloak. I think that's a reasonable spot to put them in. And our opponent just takes the damage, so that's good news for us. Best news in the world is our opponent's actually taking a while to think here, so I guess they don't have anything that's strictly good to do. It's really, really good news for us. And Ancestral Mask on top is fantastic because it gets 6 buffs currently with Cloak, Sentinel's Eyes, Test and Training, and our land enchantments. Alright, so we can see a gate active on our opponent's Standard Bearer. They will be attacking in for 6 damage. We don't have any blocks there, so we'll take the damage. Opponent has access to exactly enough mana to Grim Harvest, which means Ancestral Mask will be dying, but we cash this in to trample as much damage as possible, right? Because 6 enchantments, it's equal to 12 damage. That's 17 power creature, putting our opponent to potentially 1. That's just very, very worth it. Alright, let's throw down. And we'll attack with the Scout as well, because our opponent has to block here so the Dawnbringer Cleric dies so they can remove the Ancestral Mask. Or do they just have Deglamour? Wait, what? Oh, they did a counter here first. Exile target artifact or enchantment, so it's not even a destroy effect. Okay. Fucking seems stacked, this card. This is so strong. What the fuck, man? As long as it's your turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to this creature. So it just gets free attacks, basically. That's really bad news. Another gate to make this even bigger. I think we're at a lost position from here. They just have too much interaction. I think this is like really sweet tech from our opponent's side though. Normally they play Dust to Dust, which is 3 mana, exile 2 target artifacts, but I think I like this a lot better for A, the instant speed, B, it targets enchantments, C, it's also a creature later on, and the only downside is it only targets 1 artifact, not 2. I don't think artifacts are super dominating the metagame at the minute either, so that makes a lot of sense to me. So not surprisingly, a big buff on our opponent's Standard Bearer, big attack, no blocks on our side, and currently they're going to have access to Dawnbringer, Grim Harvest on returning the Grim Harvest. Oh, what's this? Oh, they can do that now? That's disgusting, man. Wool of Roots. Oh, that's pretty fucking strong. Oh, and they just do another Armadillo Cloak. Holy shit, man. Alright, we take 9 damage. We need Abundant Growth. Oh, sorry, Armadillo Cloak pretty specifically, or we lose. I suppose we could test some training into Armadillo Cloak. That is possible. 28 life for our opponent though. That's just not going to be enough. How much damage would Mask have been? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 damage in that respect. as opposed to Ethereal Armor's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we would have dealt an extra 9 damage. Our opponent still wouldn't have been dead. Spectre. So opponent draws a card off the Inspector's Clue token, playing out some more stuff. I mean, realistically, they just have the win here, right? If they can instant speed remove this... Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. And we brick. Are you kidding me, man? That's fucking horrible. Opponent taking the damage. Okay. Let's hold this random forest in hand here as potential interaction. Maybe getting greedy with this Dawnbringer block and sequencing it the way they did has actually screwed our opponent. That would be a remarkable turn of events. Another Basilisk Gate there for the opponent. So 1, 2, bam. 1 mana short of activating twice, currently 6 gates. Can make their creature have 11 power. We have first strike, they do not. So opponent does an active here for 11. They're forced to attack, we're forced to block. Like Naya Ephemerate, both really good against us, just win it for our opponent. Cool. I think we take this to a game 3. Alright, so we have updated information here. This looks like an actual list that my opponent has finished a tournament with because I did search them up here. This is a really cool take on the Ephemerate Tron deck, I feel. Oh wow, Guardian of the Guild pack, that's important information as well. So this one ran Breath Weapon. I think our opponent had a different variant. Armadillo Cloak is something he runs as a 4 of. Dust to Dust. Alright, cool. So the most important thing of note here is our opponent does not have fog effects, so Flaring Pain is a very bad card to have. I think given things, Cartouche's Solidarity is really good for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's first strike and our opponent's creatures do have power, not just toughness. Secondly, it can only target creatures we control, so it's tech against Standard Bearer. I like Krufix's Insight. I do not like... Actually, Relic of Progenitus is okay. Ram 3 seems good if they're running Standard Bearers. Ancestral Mask was pretty reasonable. Maybe I'm just trimming on Cetessan Training because Krufix's Insight replaces Cetessan Training relatively nicely. Yeah, I think that's reasonable build to take. All right, so here we see a no-lander, so we have to mulligan, unfortunately. Opponent mulls to 6. Obviously, we've joined them. Sand is like okay, but it's really weak to our opponent's Standard Bearer. I guess Commune could potentially find a Cartouche. We're like reasonably far behind at that point, though. So I'll keep this hand, but we're keeping this assuming our opponent does not have Standard Bearer, right? I think bottoming's between Grotto and Armadillo Cloak. I think Krufix's Insight's probably a little bit better than Armadillo Cloak, even though it's slower because it can find cartouches that only target our creature. Oh, actually... For that reason, boarding out Cetessan Training was a mistake as well because that's another aura that only targets our creatures. So we should probably take out Rancor instead of Cetessan Training or some number. I don't know. We probably should have boarded a little bit differently. I'm going to bottom the Cloak here as much as probably people are screaming at me at home. So currently they have white-green. Abundant Growth is reasonable. So turn 1 Bogle go. Our opponents can have Pyroclasm here, particularly on the play. That's going to be a good card for them. I think we play out the Bogle anyway, assuming if they have a second gate that comes in tapped as their second land source. It's playing around Standard Bearer at that point, which we do want to do. Okay, so Grotto Scry. This can go bottom. We have enough mana. We can now abundant growth here. Find Ancestral Mask. All right, so that's reasonable for future turns. We don't have a good attack here. Our opponent can still get, our creature can still get swept too, which isn't great, but we're set up for a good next turn if our opponent doesn't do anything too sinister. I guess our opponent doesn't have access to red mana, so just Wall of Roots. Okay, this is really good for us. Oh, Gingerbrute, that's cool. That's different to the current list. In the current list, he has Clay Revant, a 1-mana 1/2 golem, enters the battlefield tapped, pay 3 mana, one of which is black to return it from your graveyard to hand. All right, so first and foremost, commune. Oh wait, we can't commune plus mask. Oh shit, I thought this was Utopia's rule for some reason. Wow, that's a really bad commune. All right, so that was a mistake from me. Because we'd have 4, we'd be attacking for 7. Yeah, okay, that's quite silly. All right, maybe we hit an Ethereal Armor and we're not hurt too badly from playing it wrong. All right, so still no attacks. All right, building up to a big turn. And hopefully in the meantime, no Standard Bearer, because this Ancestral Mask should be resolved, and it's entirely my fault that it is not. All right, so this Citadel Gate's entering on black, so black-white. Another Wall of Roots activation, 2 cards in hand. Tapping Basilisk Gate as well. Ah, so Armadillo Cloak. Okay, that's kind of cool. 1 card left in hand. I think we're in a reasonable spot to take this here. Okay, can't be blocked except for by creatures with haste because I'd want to throw this guy away. Okay, that's fine. We find our own Armadillo Cloak. I think if our opponent's holding a Dawnbringer Cleric, it's likely that it's going to get cashed in now. Let's cast this one, attack for 5. So that'll just to mitigate the life gain our opponent has. Our opponent has an attack for 7 next turn. This will bait the Dawnbringer. Ancestral Mask is slightly more valuable. Keep in mind that our opponent's Armadillo Cloak, again, will buff the Ancestral Mask, so it gets buffed by 5, it adds 10 power. Really, really relevant. Second Gingerbrute, sure. This is fine. That's all our opponent has. I am okay with this. I don't think they have Deglamour because they would have done that last turn. I think Gingerbrute was the draw because they would have done that last turn as well. All right, Standard Bearer is like a massive draw, I think. 10 damage, 15 life gained. Very, very tempting. Yeah, let's just go ahead on that one. I accidentally cast that. I did not mean to cast that. Apologies, guys. All right, let's cast what we meant to cast. It doesn't change too much sequencing during the turn, though, so it should be okay. Opponent could be holding Deglamour here. They might have slow rolled the shit out of it. I'll hold the phone here. I'm just seeing in my opponent's sideboard, I missed this completely. They have Thermocask, which destroys our lands. That's horrible for us. Looks like they jump block with a Wall of Roots. The Wall of Roots with the greater toughness, not the more number of activations remaining. So they're conserving life a little bit there. We're up to 28, which is nice. Dawnbringer Cleric, yeah. I think we had this read. So not surprisingly, this is going to target Ancestral Mask. We just have to hope they don't have Ephemerate now. We want to see them activate Basilisk Gate because it means they don't have Ephemerate, right? And next turn, no matter what, I think we're slamming Standard Bearer. Krufix's Insight only hits enchantments, so we don't want a Krufix's Insight unless we hit a mana. Otherwise, that would turn off Standard Bearer. So an activation on this Gingerbrute, activation on that Gingerbrute, We're not able to block our opponent's 4 damage. I mean, I'm okay with that. We'll go from 28 to 24. Alright, what do we see? Honestly, that's fine as well. So first things first, standard bearer. So this shuts off opponent's Basilisk Gate again. We have the bigger creature at this point. Going on our Bogle, go for a big attack for 6. Now we have Vigilance as well. Oh, does our opponent have like Deglamour or something here? That'd be pretty strong. Ephemerate, yep. Alright, well that's a really annoying one to see, but at least Standard Bearer is good. We have Crewfix's Insight to reload in future turns. We can actually attack here. 0 cards in hand now for the opponent. Alright, so opponent can't deal lethal because we have 2 toughness. So Ephemerate on rebound. It doesn't have any great targets here because we get both of these back from the graveyard. I suppose the better target is technically Sentinel's Eyes in my opinion because we might run out of escape targets if it goes too long game. Oh wow, they Ephemerate Wall of Roots. That's funky. I guess it completely fogs our Bogle and they don't have good targets here, so that's fair enough. They could also choose to gain some life. Haste on Gingerbrute. Yep, cool. Ah, protection from monocolored. Wow, going in the Bogle was just the best thing ever, wasn't it? Go team. Opponent continues to draw some gas, don't they? Definitely not over on either side. It's a pretty good draw. Alright, so Crewfix's Insight can be the first one. What the heck? We just completely brick? Well, that's crazy. At least all that trash was on the bottom of our library though, and we're drawing to some fresh enchantments now. Ethereal Armor is also a really good play. Attack in, opponent can fog 3 of the damage with their Guardian. Can fog even more with the Wall of Roots, they just take all of it currently. Sorry, opponent can't block 3 damage with Guardian because this has protection from monocolored, not multicolored. I am an absolute doofus. Tell work's taking its toll on me, and recording these videos after work is not the best thing, but hey. Gingerbrute active, some more life gained. Opponent in for 3, can't be blocked. So even if we wanted to block it, we couldn't. I don't know why we... I guess we would block with our Bogle, never mind. I was thinking this guy was tapped or something. Alright, that's a pretty good find. Gives us a free cantrip, a free buff on Ethereal Armor. Okay. That's amusing. Hey, like, if we draw Abundant Growth now, our opponent knows we're cheating, right? Wow. That is very, very sad. Attack with Bogle. You fucking kidding me? What have they got now? 3 mana instant speed is that creature again? Holy shit, that's a good top decks opponent. You are fucking top decking a lot better than we are. At least they trade. That's something. And of course the extra hexproof creature we've drawn is Scout, so if opponent finds another Guardian, which they probably will, it's not the best find, eh? We could Scout, but if our opponent draws exactly standard Bearer, we're going to want to go on our guy. So do we just go in on standard Bearer preemptively, getting ready for the worst case scenario? I think so. We'll do the... Oh, then I guess it's fine to Rancor as well. Maybe I... No, we don't want to put Rancor on awkward creature because they'll just make Gingerbrutes unblockable. Okay, cool. Pass turn. Man, this game would be so over if we didn't have Standard Bearer turning off their opponent's Basilisk Gate. Now they have their own Standard Bearer though, so Basilisk Gate can target that instead of ours. Gingerbrute, sure. Why does this thing keep fucking shrinking down? That's really annoying. Attacks for 3. Maybe we should have... They just pay the 1 mana. They already paid the mana, so it can't be blocked. Okay. Man, we are drawing so shit compared to our opponent. This is absolutely pathetic. We can't attack because they can leave up Standard Bearer as a blocker because they got Gingerbrute, and this is so bullshit, man. This is absolute trash. We literally cast Crucifix's Insight, looking at the top 6 cards of our library and hit 0 enchantments. Like, what is that? Basilisk Gate over here. 4 gates. Do we take the trade? But then that activates their Gingerbrute. We can just jump here to prolong the game a bit. I don't think the scouts are going to get very good value. That seems fine. I'm just getting so much life off this damn thing. You're fucking kidding me, man. Alright, well, yeah, I mean, even like a ram through would just be really good, but we bottomed that with our Crucifix's Insight earlier, so we're not going to hit that for a very long time. Okay, this is ridiculous. It's 11 turns and our opponent's still at 4 mana. This is how much they have not hit mana. I guess we've hit 5 mana, but we've hit other mana sources. It feels like we're low rolling unfairly too much to me. Like, this is absolutely crazy right now. Active, sure. Active, sure. Could we like hit any aura at this point? Any aura. Are you fucking kidding me, deck? Are you fucking kidding me? This is absolutely pathetic. Watch this. They're going to draw another creature at this point. I guess they hit 1 Basilisk Gate. In the last, like, 5 turns, they hit 1 Basilisk Gate, all creatures. Another active. Probably another active again. No, haste. Okay. Sure. Alright, well, like, Crucifix's Insight would be really well timed. Ancestral Mask, Armadillo Cloak, all these cards would be very relevant hits. Oh my god. This is absolutely pathetic. And I guess we can attack with this one, actually. Maybe I've been being a bit reckless with not attacking with Standard Bearer. Since we drew the second Standard Bearer, taking, like, these 2 creatures off the table is actually relevant. Opponent probably takes the damage because they're at 22, right? Gaining 3 a turn. So our opponent was tempted to block. It looks like they chose not to, so we get through for 4 damage. Pass the turn. Wow. Basilisk Gate. So this... If they continue activating here, they could just play Guardian and switch off all of our attacks. Standard Bearer up to 7 power. This guy unblockable. Yep. All of this makes sense. And if we don't hit life gain this turn, we're like literally dead, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 enchantments is 14. We'd have 18 damage. They're on 21 with blockers. So we literally need to hit Armadillo Cloak or we're screwed. Wow, I just cannot believe how poorly we drew here. That's really sad. It spoiled what was like a really, really good and competitive game just because they drew gas and we didn't. Like, I can't express how tilting it is to have Crucifix's Insight just blank and then you continue to draw irrelevant auras, and we finished the game having played 6 auras in 13 turns after having many cantrips. Yeah, it's pretty absurd. We only boarded out 4 auras, by the way. 1 Ancestral Mask, 3 Cetessan Trainings. Yeah. It probably looks bad, me boarding out Ancestral Mask at that point. Cetessan Training, maybe it was reasonable, but what do we even change for it? So at that point, we're removing Sentinel's Eyes, Commune with Spirits. I mean, we had a reason for keeping Cartouche in. I think, realistically, probably we just cut Commune with Spirits because it's not an enchantment. Sure, it fixes our mana. Sure, tempo is nice. Sure, it filters to good auras. But, like, keep Cetessan Training in as 2 copies. Keep Ancestral Mask in as the 3rd copy as well. And yeah, like, just hope not to brick that hard because that was absolutely insane how poorly we hit there. That was like 1 Armadillo Cloak in about 30 cards. So 1 Armadillo Cloak, 1 Ethereal Armor, 1 Ancestral Mask in 30 cards with 10 copies in there. Yeah, oh well. I won't badger any longer on that. I've kept you guys enough for the frustratedness of my match there. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully when you come up against this matchup, you have better drawing luck than we did. I probably wouldn't be so salty if our opponent killed us quickly, but the fact it was a long drawn out game and they just top decked better is very frustrating. Anyway, have a wonderful day, guys. I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.